What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Buck. It's the best day of my life. Tomorrow's not promised. Go on and do your little dance while they still playing your song. Today, man, we're coming straight from DeKalb County. This is the county that I live in. This is where I do the majority of my work. I'm an anger management specialist that's licensed and certified throughout the state of Georgia. But I'm from DeKalb County, bro. Went to school in DeKalb County. I live here. I'm gonna be here. This is a rare case. This case right here is based upon evidence that was acquired back in 1990. How old was I in 1990? I was only about 14, 13 years old, man. So, the DeKalb County judicial system, I'm not sure what department it is, they were given a grant from another entity I'm not aware of. But because of this grant, they were able to go and dig up some of their cold cases and utilize DNA. And so looks like they got a guy, and I can only imagine, bro, the shock of being arrested for a case that's 30 years old, man. So let's dive right into it, bro.
To the right. Take forward here. Move in. Got to step up. Come on. We're waiting on you.
All the way on the ground. All the way. Come on out. Come on out. All the way. Put your hands behind your back. Put both your hands behind your back.
What's your name?
Kenneth Perry.
Ken Perry. I got two. We're good. Give me the other hand.
Mr. Perry, got to walk for your arrest.
Authorities quickly entered a local pizza place where the suspect, identified as Kenneth Perry, had recently been seen. The officers subdued him by force and handcuffed him to prevent any resistance. But what exactly had happened, and what was this all about?
All right. Roll over to your left side. Down first. You got any weapons on you?
No.
What's your name, man?
Kenneth Perry.
Kenneth Perry? Yeah, that's it. Roll over to your right. You got any weapons on you?
No, I got my keys in my
Roll over to your left. All right. I ain't trying to hurt your shoulders. I want you to roll over to the left side.
Don't look like Kenneth had no run off in neither, bro. You know, 30 years later is a tad bit different.
Help you, right? 1, 2, 3.
Can you give her keys to her truck?
We're going to get her taken care of. Give her a better hat.
Sunday, July 15th, 1990, Stone Mountain, Georgia. Siblings John Sumpter, age 46, and Pamela Sumpter, age 43, are brutally attacked, and Perry was completely connected to the case. But what exactly had occurred? John would be found dead in his apartment with multiple stab wounds to his body, and Pamela was found at a neighbor's residence, gravely injured after being
Breaking news. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Jennifer Bellamy.
And I'm Faith Jesse. Tonight in DeKalb County, a jury has found a man guilty in a double homicide that happened more than 30 years ago. Wow. The jury delivered that verdict about an hour ago for Kenneth Perry. Perry was found guilty on all charges, including malice murder, felony murder, and several others. Perry was convicted in connection to the murders of John and Pamela Sumpter. Authorities say the victims, who were siblings, were killed in 1990 at an apartment complex on Tree Hills Parkway in Stone Mountain. The case remained cold until last summer.
Cold case finally leads to an arrest.
The case involves a decades-old sexual assault and double homicide out of DeKalb County. Good afternoon, and thanks so much for joining us for Fox 5 News at 4. I'm Christine Spiro. 55-year-old Kenneth Perry faces multiple charges in connection to the murder of siblings Pamela and John Sumpter. Fox 5's Brittany Andy is live for us at the newsroom and has new developments. Brittany, how were investigators able to finally make a break in this case?
Christine, it really came down to getting federal funding so investigators could then find a possible match by working with a private lab partner and also utilizing a national DNA database.
It's been over 30 years since this terrible, evil tragedy happened to my brother and sister.
James Sumpter lost two siblings during a 1990 attack.
I'm going to say this. He was almost already convicted. We know that he gets found guilty, and I'm going to go over some of the details of the trial. But for them to hold a press conference, for them to have the victim's family there already given, this was 8 months ago. This one. I accidentally went to the one I was supposed to do after this, but we're all adults here. They got funding to complete a task. In order to secure additional funding, my man going down. It wasn't a case where it's possibly him. Let's just see what's going on. There was none of that. Wasn't no young thug type case. This was, let's dive into it.
Attack at an apartment complex in Stone Mountain. 43-year-old Pamela Sumpter and 46-year-old John Sumpter.
We now have closure.
With 55-year-old Kenneth Perry now awaiting trial. He faces multiple charges, including murder, rape, and aggravated assault. DeKalb County District Attorney Sherry Boston says Pamela was able to speak with police before she died at the hospital.
She told investigators that her brother had brought a man over to the apartment. She knew very little about this new acquaintance, but she was able to give police a detailed description, including that he was from Detroit, Michigan.
And nearly 34 years later, Boston says a federal grant helped investigators move the case forward.
In February of this year, we worked with the GBI to upload the DNA profile from this case to the national DNA database, and within days got a match to a sexual assault case in Detroit, Michigan.
That, combined with forensic genetic genealogy analysis, led investigators to Perry, a long-awaited break that James says he's extremely grateful for.
We can face the future with hope. Challenging times are coming. Whatever suffering we must go through, whatever hardship we must endure, whatever sorrows, if we have hope, a better day is coming.
The DA's office received the Prosecuting Cold Cases Using DNA grant in October. It's for $500,000. Plus, there is a separate amount of about $33,000, and that can be used over 3 years. At the live desk, Brittany Edney, Fox 5 News.
Yeah, major development in that case.
Raise your right hand, please. Do solemnly swear or affirm the testimony in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, something God. Can you stand right on stage for that?
Private Kenneth Perry Sr.
Private.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Perry, let's start where we just left off.
Why are you saying
Ms.
private?
Hodder has just dug up everything about your past. Is that fair to say?
No. She lied about some things.
What did she lie about?
So, Mr. Perry, let me ask you this. Have you ever been convicted of a felony?
Yep.
No, sir.
What?
Let's start from the beginning. Mr. Perry, how old are you?
I'm 56 years old.
What's your date of birth?
July 8, 1968.
And where were you born?
Highland Park, Michigan.
How long did you live in Michigan?
About 22 years.
Okay. And where'd you move from there?
To Georgia.
And where have you lived in Georgia?
That story is a line.
I lived Lithonia Stone Mountain area,
Oh, man. That's
Loganville, Snellville, and Atlanta and Decatur.
Now, the time that you were arrested, where?
So I'm gonna say this is that his story is aligning with what they got going on, because he's saying Stone Mountain, Lithonia. Tree Hills is on South Harrison. No. Yeah. Tree Hills is on South Harrison Redan, in Stone Mountain, Georgia. So that's accurate. And if she said that the individual who had committed those acts was from Detroit and he's from Michigan, that is not good for you, my guy.
I was living on Austin Park Apartments off of Glenwood and Austin Drive. Oh, and I got arrested for this.
Arrested for this?
Oh, I was living in Loganville, 1832 Preserve Creek Way.
Okay. And who are you living in Loganville with?
Down the Levens.
Okay. And we just heard from Yasmin.
Mm-hmm.
Is that her mom?
Her mother-in-law.
Mother-in-law. And who's Ms. Blevins' son?
Cordell.
Now, going all the way from your birth to the current. At the time of your arrest, what were you doing for a living?
Have a non-profit ministry.
What's the name of your ministry?
Living Proof Prophetic Ministry.
Okay. And what's the purpose of your ministry?
I travel around state to state, church to church. I go wherever the Lord sends me. I talk to a lot of bishops, a lot of pastors, a lot of deacons. The Bible says those.
This is what I'm saying. He looked poised. I don't know if I'm using that word right, but he just looked calm. He ain't real, you know what I mean? He looked trustworthy, bro. I don't know if it's the gray hair or, he ain't loud with it. He just, let's see.
We teach need to be taught, so God give me a word. I get on the road when I'm here. We provide clothes, shoes, food for the homeless people in Atlanta and Gwinnett County.
How long have you been doing that?
About 5 years.
Okay. And before that, what did you do for a living?
I work for American Radio. I put leather in cars.
Okay. And how long have you been?
I started with American Radio around 2 months before the towers fell. That was back in 2001, somewhere in there.
And for the record, Mr. Perry, how tall are you?
Depending on whether I have shoes on or not, the 5'10", 5'11".
And today, roughly how much do you weigh?
Now that I don't know.
Okay. And why is that?
I haven't been on the scale in a while.
Now, Mr. Perry, let me draw your attention back to the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
When did you first come to Atlanta?
Probably was around April of 1990.
Okay. And when you moved to Atlanta, where'd you stay?
I actually stayed in a shelter. It was like a rooming house off of Moreland Avenue. And we met some friends at Austin Park Apartments that invited us to come and hang out with them.
Now, Austin Park Apartments, where are those located?
At the time, the name of it was on Glenwood and Austin Drive.
Oh, you was in the hood.
Is that inside or outside the perimeter?
It was inside.
Okay.
You was in
and at
the
that
hood.
point in time, you lived in apartments with how many people?
Four of us for about 2 weeks, 4 and 4 kids.
And this is around the spring of 1990?
Yes.
Okay. Now, at this time, in the spring of 1990, were you single or married?
Really neither. I was with my children's mother.
Okay. And what's her name?
Lisa Reed.
Okay. Did you and Ms. Reed ever get married?
No, she was actually married when I met her, and I didn't know it until after my first daughter was born.
Okay. How many children did you have with Ms. Reed?
3 and 2 for sure.
Why do you say 2 for sure?
When I moved down here, her husband, they had never got a divorce. And she ended up moving with him to County. and took the kids with him. And so it's been on again, off again thing, whose child was the youngest daughter.
Okay. And what 3 kids are we speaking of? What are their names?
Lita Marie Perry, Kenneth Perry Jr., and Lisa Netta Reed.
Okay. And which child is it that the attorneys will in question?
Lisa Netta Reed.
I'm going to speed it up just a little bit, y'all.
So in 1990, how many kids did you have at that time when you first got here?
3.
Because I want to see what.
Now in
what
1990,
the DA
let me draw your attention forward. July of 1990. Where were you staying around about that time? Do you recall?
Austin Drive.
And living with the same people?
Same people.
Okay. Now, we've heard mention of a club on Lucky Street. Are you familiar with this club?
No, sir.
And we've heard mention regarding John and Pamela Sumpter and their death. Let me just start with, let's get to the meat of this.
Did you know?
Did you kill Pamela Sumpter?
No, sir, I did not. And I will profess and confess that Jesus Christ is Lord.
What? Did you rape Pamela Sumpter?
No, sir, I did not. My hands are clean. I did not rape Pamela Sumpter. I did not kill Pamela Sumpter or John Sumpter.
I guess let me ask a question. Did you kill John Sumpter?
No, sir, I did not.
Now, I know this is an awkward question, but
Unbelievable.
let me ask, in 1990,
It was a long time.
were you gay?
Never been gay.
Okay.
Why would that come up?
But let me draw your attention to July 1990. Did you meet John and Pamela Sumpter at some point?
At some point, I did.
How did you meet John Sumpter?
Well, it was the weekend, so on a Saturday, and I normally walk. I didn't have a car, so my way of getting familiar was walking. And I was walking down Covington Highway
So you walked from Glenwood.
Saturday evening,
Wait a
and
minute.
I didn't know.
So you walked from Glenwood to Covington Highway just walking. So let me explain this. If you're not familiar with the area, for you to just be walking from Glenwood to Tree Hills, you are a marathon walker or in really good shape, or you could possibly be lying. Because from Glenwood to Covington Highway is a journey. If you're coming from Austin, yeah.
His name at the time, John Sumpter, approached me, rode up by me, asked me did I want to drive, and I told him no.
So, Mr. Sumpter, did he ask you if you were a trick
No,
or a prostitute or anything?
no.
Okay.
Damn.
So did you end up getting a ride from John Sumpter?
Eventually I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't feel threatened or anything, I received nothing but good vibes from people in Atlanta since I had been here.
Okay. And where'd you go, Mr. Sumpter?
I told them where I was going. Was coming down Covington Highway. You have Harrison. What I normally do is walk down towards Wesley Chapel, go around the back way to Austin, drive back to the apartment. And after I got in the car with him, he said he needed to make a quick stop at his house. He had been out with a friend, and his friend was supposed to come and hang out with him. So he needed to stop by his house real quick to see his friend had made it over there. And it wasn't but up the street.
Okay. So, did you go with John Sumpter to the address in question here?
Yeah, I did. I rode over there with him.
Okay.
Bro, you.
And you call what time you may have gotten there?
It was getting dark.
Okay. And this was July, so I assume it's around 9 or so?
I never wore a jewelry, so I couldn't tell you. It was getting dark.
So when you got to the house,
Right.
did you go into the house?
We sat in the car and we talked a while, and I told him about my aspirations of getting into the ministry, and he gave me pretty good feedback. And
Man.
like I said, we just sat there and we talked for a minute, and when he said, we go into the house, and we got out, get ready to go walk me to the house. A friend of his walked up, and he said, oh, you made it over here. And he was like, asked me my name. He didn't even know my name. He was asking me at the point. I told him Ken. He said, "This is my friend Alvin." Alvin said, "Hey man, we'll talk about that later. You got the money that you owe." And he said, "Oh, we'll talk when we go in the house." So he asked me to wait outside, and they went in the house. And what they talked about, I don't know. I sat on the front hood of the car and just waited. And against my first mind of not getting in the car or leaving, because it seemed like they was talking for a while. But I waited.
So did you go in?
Eventually, once he came back out. And,
So you did go out. You put
Who came back
yourself.
out?
John,
And where was this guy, Alvin, at the time?
he was in the house.
Now tell us, what did Alvin look like?
He had to be at least about 6'1", maybe 6'2". He was dark skinned. I was a lot lighter than I am now, so yeah, he was definitely darker than I was. He had a military buzz cut. He had his eyebrows arched. He didn't have any facial hair, and he was built like an action hero. Like,
What do you mean action hero?
Gym rat. He was a real buff.
So at some point in time, did you go into the townhome?
Yes, I did.
And inside the townhome, who was there?
The only person I saw was John and Al.
About how long do you think you may have stayed in there? Yeah,
I don't know. I would think after about 15 to 20 minutes being in there, I was offered something to drink, and I was a bit parched, so I accepted. I guess I'm assuming it was water, and
the drink was in a glass, was in a
it
cup?
was in a glass, and it was handed to me by John.
And what happened after you took that drink?
Well, I sat down on the couch, and they were talking and back and forth, and
Who was talking?
John and Alvin about, I don't know exactly what they was. I would be like a fly on the wall just listening to them, but I know it had something to do with it.
Objection, hearsay.
Okay, what I heard was him say, Alvin.
Objection, hearsay.
So this conversation, did it have anything to do with you?
No. No.
And let me stop for a minute. 1990, how old were you?
22, I had just turned 22.
So going back to take a drink, and what do you notice about yourself after you take the drink?
I noticed I was awfully comfortable.
Man, that you got
did they offer you anything else?
That's the story you gonna run with, bro.
Well, a while later, they offered me a piece of a brownie.
Oh,
was that all?
man, come on,
They
man. Come
offered it to me on the
on,
plate.
come on, man.
Alvin did.
This is what we doing?
Did you take the brownie?
Yeah.
Well, I took it and it was round. It wasn't square, so I wasn't sure. So I kind of rejected it. But at the insistence, I did, grab it and take a bite. And it didn't taste like brownie to me.
Okay. Now you said it was a brownie, what, it was round, sort of like a cookie?
Yeah, it's almost like a Hostess cupcake, Hostess ding dong, what they call them, something like that, round chocolate.
So after you tasted the brownie, what happened?
Like I said, it didn't taste like the brownie, so I went to the bathroom and lifted the toilet seat up, spit it out, flushed the toilet, rinsed my mouth out, and I went back and sat down.
Okay. And then what happened?
Things started getting a little fuzzy and to me, a little crazy.
What do you mean a little crazy?
Well, I noticed that they was hugged up and giggling and at one point in time kissing, and I didn't know what to make out of it.
Okay. So at that time, did you ask to leave?
Nope.
No, actually, it was almost like I couldn't speak.
Oh,
It was really weird.
Come on.
And I knew something was going on with me that I didn't know what. I never drank never did any type of drugs my whole life, and so I didn't know what this feeling was.
So, were you feeling not yourself?
Yeah,
To say the least.
I felt like I couldn't talk, I couldn't move.
Man, come
It was
on.
almost like if anybody ever had sleep paralysis and you try to snap out of it. Most people I know that experience something like that, you snap out of it when you call on the name of Jesus. It was kind of one of those feelings.
Hey man, I want to believe this dude. I want to believe him so bad, but it's starting to look shaky. And that's your lawyer. So I can only imagine what it's gonna be when the DA get a hold of you.
Did you feel as though you were drugged?
Yes, I know I was. After that experience, looking back on it, learning about certain things like hypnology, speed, psychotics, I knew they had given me something.
Then what happened?
I dozed off. And I don't know how long I dozed off, but when I came back to, I noticed they were sitting next to each other, and John was on the phone. And I noticed my shirt was pulled over my head.
Do you know how your shirt ended up over your head?
No.
Do you know what it maybe happened to you during this time?
No.
So at some point in time, did you see Ms. Sumpter? Pamela?
Well, that was a little while after.
What happened?
After John got off the phone, it's really weird. I was able to see what was going on, but I couldn't do anything about what I was seeing. As far as wanting to get out of the apartment or leave, whatever. It's almost like I didn't have control over that. And after John got off the phone, he came over and sat by me and
here you go.
was twirling my nipples. And,
man, come on, man.
And he took his shirt off. He had on I believe it was a gray shirt, had on some white shorts. And they was both was following me. And
were you able to resist?
No.
Why not?
I couldn't.
Then what happened?
If I could explain, it was I had 4 older brothers, and your older brother pinned you down. You're 6 or 7 years old. You can't get up. And it's the worst feeling in the world because you know that there's something inside your chest. You can get up. You can beat this feeling. But no, it was like that. I couldn't do anything about it.
Then what happened?
John started giving Al oral sex. And only thing I was thinking was praying. And to my mother, at the time, my mother was the only spiritual person in my life. And so I was praying to her to,
Praying to your mama?
seek help or guidance for me out of this situation.
Were you able to get up?
No.
Then what happened?
You bet not cry. You bet not cry. You bet not cry. You bet not cry.
And then they took turns going down on me.
And when you say going down, what do you mean?
Sucking on my penis. That's another way to put it.
Were you able to stop them?
No, I wasn't.
How long was left?
I couldn't even tell you. I passed out.
I did not see that coming.
So when you came back to, what happened?
When I came back to, Alvin pulled me up off the couch and trying to dance with me. And then John grabbed me by the hand and said, let's go upstairs.
And you went upstairs.
And so he ushered me upstairs, had his hand in my pants, kind of like pulling me forward by my penis up the stairs. And
man, this story
it
getting
was
wild.
the worst feeling in the world.
It's getting wild, bro.
Were you helpless?
My nigga, you was walking.
I couldn't do nothing about it. I couldn't act out what I wanted to with my body, not what I was thinking.
You walked up the steps.
I couldn't do it.
Man, what a
And where did
DA.
John take you?
He took me into the bedroom where the lady was. I didn't know who she was at the time. I learned later that it was his sister, but at the time it was a woman in the room. Yeah.
So his sister with the shit too?
When we were in the room, she said, Johnny, I do not like cussing. So I thought if I just spelled it out, she said, Johnny, who the F is this? And he said, somebody's supposed to be giving a ride home. Well, he gonna party with us. And he scooted me up on the bed. My pants was pulled down.
Bro,
and he was jacking me off from the back. And she was laughing. And she said, Johnny, what the AGL gonna do with this? And he started laughing. She said, girl, they was calling each other all kind of names, you know, the D word. And he's like, you deserve a little fun or something like that. And she was pulling on me and pulled me like closer to where she was. And he was behind me with his arm between my legs, holding my testicles. And I can't really explain everything else that really happened. But I know it was like things was in slow motion at one moment, and in another moment it was in fast motion.
Do you recall having intercourse with anyone?
No, I don't recall having intercourse with Pamela, if that's what you're saying. But I know when I was next to her, John was
details just throw me all the way off.
Licking on the crack of my butt. And if I can explain anything, it would be almost like the Bible talks about having the emission of semen.
This a wild story for a dude that's headed down the road, bro. This a wild story for somebody that's headed to prison.
And by that I mean, you know, I had experiences when you sleep and you might be thinking about your wife, you may be thinking about your girlfriend or some type of woman in your dream. And you actually think you're having sex and you're not. But when that body fluid leaves your body and wakes you up, and you know that it was a dream. So it was like that type of feeling right there. I knew there was an emission of semen or virtue, whatever you call something out of my body. And
how long this lasting? I did.
No, it was.
Y'all, we gonna slide to
pretty much laughing about it. When I came to, I was on the floor.
Now, to your knowledge, when you left, was Pamela alive?
All three of those people were alive when I left out of that house that night.
How you get
And where'd you go?
I went over, drove over to this parking lot right there on Glenwood. And,
now, how you get over there?
Yeah, Austin Drive and 285, which is now the 285 flea market.
Yeah, but how you get over there?
And I parked the car there and I left the key in and I walked over to
Austin Drive.
Expressway.
So after this ordeal, did you call the police?
Nope.
No.
Why not?
At that moment, I contemplated suicide. I wanted to go to the expressway. I just wanted to
Man, you didn't make
roll down the embankment into traffic.
Why would you contemplate suicide?
But I had never experienced nothing like that before in my life. And after my knowledge, they didn't move over there till like the end of September, close to October.
Man, what a district? What a DA? That's what I need.
Yeah.
And this home, I mean, it was basically like a wild sex dungeon, the way you describe it.
Right.
Yes, it's not how I describe it.
Didn't you say there was a dominatrix ball that was put in your mouth and tied around your head?
No, I did not say
You
that.
didn't say you woke up to a ball in your mouth? And John behind you?
I didn't say a dominatrix no.
And you were drugged, correct?
I know I was.
By a liquid, correct?
Whatever it was in the glass, they gave me the drink that I thought was water.
And you were drugged by food?
I didn't say the food had drugs, and I said they offered me a brownie.
But it didn't taste like it.
It didn't taste like a brownie.
And you felt really funny afterwards.
After I drank the drink.
But you've seen all the pictures of the house and the investigation. There wasn't any ball found in the room, correct?
There was neither bag found, but Alvin had, I told my attorney, had Powerhouse gym bag with him. And I didn't see that bag in either one of the photos.
So Alvin cleaned it up. He cleaned up the ball that John used to sexually assault you.
If you know that, he must have told you.
Did Al take the drugs from the house that they used to drug you too?
You would have had to ask him that.
You'd agree that they weren't found in the processing of the apartment, correct?
I didn't process the apartment.
Did you sit here for the testimony?
Yes, I did.
And did the multiple officers testify to finding any drugs or anything that would have been used to create this dreamlike state that you were made to go into?
I don't know what they would have found.
Were you listening to their testimony?
I had nothing to do with that, though.
Yes, I was.
And did anyone testify to finding any drugs in that apartment?
Okay, so then that's your question.
Not to my knowledge.
So not only did John and Alvin sexually assault you, but your testimony is that Pamela was sexually assaulting you as well.
That's what you said.
Now I'm asking what you said, Mr. Perry.
I told you what she did to me. She pulled on my penis. She pulled me close to her when she was fingering herself. And I don't know what else after that was really going on. I was in and out.
So the answer to my question is yes.
What was your question again?
That Pam sexually assaulted you.
Yes, she did.
Now, before you moved down to Georgia from Michigan, well, let me ask you about Lisa. Lisa Reed, she was the mother of your first 3 children, correct?
Yes.
And you met Lisa in Michigan, right?
Yes, I met her in Michigan.
And Lisa moved down to Georgia from Michigan with the 3 children, correct?
Yeah, you're correct.
And you followed her here, correct?
I didn't follow her here. I was asked to come down.
But you came down here because of Lisa, correct?
And I came down here because of my kids.
Because Lisa brought them to Georgia.
Yeah.
And Lisa was living at the Swift Street address, correct?
Yes.
She started living at that address in May of 1990, correct?
Yeah, I don't know.
But you wouldn't dispute it.
I wouldn't know.
And she lived there up until the point you indicated that you were living there in October, on October 8th of 1990.
I never said I lived there.
Maybe got some documents. She got some documents. got documentation. I don't like his story. His story don't make sense to me.
Mr. Perry, do you recall presenting your address as 7047 Swiss Street when you bonded out of the DeKalb County Jail on October 8th of 1990?
Think about that documentation. It's gonna be hard to deny that, but you have to give an address when you bond out.
Yes, I see the address on it.
And that's your signature next to that address,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
That's the address you said you could be found at to the courts, correct?
And that's the address she told me I could use if I needed the address.
And it's important that you give the courts the correct address, because if they can't find you, you go to jail, right?
But
So,
And the address you gave was 7047 Swiss Street, correct?
that's the address I gave the court.
And in fact, Lisa told the police that...
okay, so I think what her strategy is, she's gonna try to build on the fact that he's lying. I think that's what's going on.
You'd been living with her there.
Your Honor, will object here, sir?
So sorry. Is it your testimony that you did not live there with Lisa?
No, I didn't know that there was Lisa.
And if Lisa told the police that,
Your
that would
Honor,
be a
will
lie.
object to the form of question?
Now, Lisa had a brother named Leroy, correct?
Yes, she did.
And Leroy is gay, right?
Uh-oh.
You say Leroy is gay?
Yes.
I don't understand the question.
You're aware that Lisa's brother Leroy is gay, correct?
You keep saying yes.
Was gay.
Yeah, he was.
And you told Leroy that you would go to gay bars, correct?
No.
That you would let gay men pick you up, correct?
No.
And that you would let them take you home.
No.
That you would get them comfortable, correct?
You just talking.
No.
And then you'd beat them up and take their TVs. That's what you told Leroy, right?
No.
Beat him up and take it.
So if Leroy said that to the police, he'd be...
Your Honor, will object.
Sustained. So we've established that back in July of 1990, you had recently moved here from Michigan, correct?
Correct.
You were in your 20s, correct?
Talk to Leroy.
I just turned 22 July the 8th.
So the answer to my question is yes.
Yes.
You reported in October of 1990 that you were 5'9", correct?
You said 5'10",
No,
5'11".
I believe that's what they had me standing next to on the wall before they took my picture.
Did you not stipulate that you represented that you were 5'9" in October
You
of
said
1990?
5'10", 5'11".
Well, that's what the outline said.
And is your signature not on the stipulation?
Oh,
I never went around measuring my height.
That wasn't my question, Mr. Perry. Your Honor, may I retrieve the stipulation? The parties stipulate to the following facts. On October 8, 1990, Kenneth Perry represented that he was 5'9", 230 pounds, and residing at 7047 Swiss Street in Lithonia, Georgia. Is that your signature, Mr. Perry?
Yes, that's my signature.
Thank you. Yes, Your Honor. And you've represented your height at 5'10", 5'10" before, correct?
No.
You never indicated that your height is 5'10".
You just said 5'10".
Did you not just say on direct testimony, speaking to your attorney, 5'10", 5'11"?
I was talking to Mr. Queen.
But you've never told me you were 5'10".
Now you being stupid.
Is that what you're saying?
No, I haven't.
But you told Mr. Queen you were 5'10".
She didn't got in your head.
5'11".
She didn't got in your head.
Now, men don't usually lie about their height to make themselves shorter, do they, Mr. Perry?
I don't know.
I wouldn't know.
And in 1990, you were 230 pounds.
My weight fluctuated.
You're a bigger guy, correct?
Bigger than who?
I don't know what you mean by that.
Well, how would you describe your size back in 1990?
In 1990, my birthday, I was 280 pounds.
So you went from 280 pounds in July to 230 pounds in October?
I was 208 pounds.
8. And 230 in October.
Correct.
And that would make you a bigger guy, correct?
Bigger than what, bitch?
But I gained a few pounds since my birthday up until the day I was arrested.
You weren't a skinny man. Can we agree to that, Mr. Perry?
Yeah, I was chunky.
And your hair was cut closer on the sides, correct?
My hair was growing back out.
So it was even closer before.
Yeah, I used to wear brush waves.
And it had it was flat on the top and had a little bit of length on the top, correct?
That's not.
No, brush waves. I had waves all around my head. When my hair grew out.
That is a bad picture. You look like a murderer.
And you admitted that you did go to the victim's apartment the night that they were murdered, correct?
I was there that night.
Why you say that night? I don't know what night they was murdered.
And you have to admit that because your fingerprints were found on a plate in the house, right?
No, I have to admit that because it's the truth.
Because they were on a downstairs bathroom doorknob at the apartment, correct?
That is the truth.
This is a doorknob that John also touched, correct?
I don't know.
Did you hear that testimony?
Oh yeah, I did that.
And a plate that John also touched, correct?
I heard that as well.
Now, you've heard that Pamela Sumpter was 43 years old at this time, correct?
I believe they might have said age.
And she was living with her brother in that apartment, correct?
Correct.
How you don't?
Pamela had only lived in Georgia for 3 months at this point, correct?
I wouldn't know that.
Have you heard that testimony?
I don't believe I heard the 3-month part.
From her mother and her brother? Were you not listening to her mother and her brother's testimony?
Yes, I was listening.
And were you listening when everyone who testified indicated they never saw Pamela with a man? Were you listening to that part?
I heard that part.
Were you listening when Pamela Sumpter told the detective she'd been celibate for years?
I heard that part, but I didn't hear anybody say they followed around to see if it was true.
And this is the woman that you claim sexually assaulted you while you were drugged in her bedroom.
That is the truth.
You heard Dr. Doss's testimony about the vaginal tears that Pamela suffered, correct?
Yes.
The abrasions that she suffered, correct?
Yes.
How these kinds of injuries are most commonly seen in childbirth, correct?
Correct.
So how do you explain those injuries?
Okay.
Well, I can't because I didn't rape her.
And who did, Mr. Perry?
Well, on her statement, it was Alvin, the person that she had seen multiple times.
So your testimony is now that Alvin, who was having sex with John, raped Pamela.
I never said he was having sex with John.
Did you not say they were giving each other oral sex, Mr. Perry?
That's what I said.
Is oral sex not sex?
Or you said sex.
So he was having sex with John, correct?
John was giving oral sex.
So your testimony now is that Alvin raped Pamela, this person who was having sex with John.
Not that, I don't know because I wasn't there.
But it's your DNA and Pamela Sumpter's vaginal swab, right?
Yes.
There's no one else's DNA, correct?
Maybe he didn't ejaculate.
So you heard Ms. Sumpter's interview with the detective about how insistent her attacker was, correct?
Correct.
They even went to the trouble of getting a Vaseline jar, correct?
Correct.
So you're saying this person who was so insistent on raping Pamela, they didn't ejaculate?
I don't know what to tell you, I wasn't there.
So this real rapist, this person Alvin, he was also in his 20s?
No, he was about 33. I have older brothers, so I had a pretty decent age.
And he was also dark-skinned?
He was darker than I was.
But he was significantly tall, correct?
Excuse me?
He was significantly taller than you, correct?
He's a little taller than I was.
He's not 5'7" or 5'8", correct? Was Alvin also from Detroit?
Could have been.
Was Alvin also living in Lithonia?
Yeah, I don't know.
Was the mother...
My understanding that you all have reached a unanimous verdict? And who is the fourth person? Okay. And do you have the verdict form? Is it signed and dated by you?
Yes, ma'am.
So if you would hand that to Deputy Frazier. Would you go ahead and publish the verdict?
As to count 1, malice murder, we, the jury, find the defendant, Kenneth Perry, guilty. As to count 2, malice murder, we, the jury, find the defendant, Kenneth Perry, guilty. As to count 3, felony murder, we, the jury, find the defendant, Kenneth Perry, guilty. As to count 4, felony murder, we, the jury, find the defendant, Kenneth Perry, guilty. As to count 5, rape, we, the jury, find the defendant, Kenneth Perry, guilty. As to count 6, aggravated assault, we, the jury, find the defendant, Kenneth Perry, guilty. As to count 7, aggravated assault, we, the jury, find the defendant, Kenneth Perry, guilty. As to count 8, aggravated assault, we, the jury, find the defendant, Kenneth Perry, guilty. As to count 9, aggravated assault, we, the jury, find the defendant, Kenneth Perry, guilty. As to count 10, aggravated battery, we, the jury, find the defendant, Kenneth Perry, guilty. As to count 11, aggravated battery, we, the jury, find the defendant, Kenneth Perry, guilty. As to count 12, possession of a knife during the commission of a felony, we, the jury, find the defendant, Kenneth Perry, guilty. As to count 13, possession of a knife during the commission of a felony, we, the jury, find the defendant Kenneth Perry guilty. As to count 14, theft by taking, we, the jury, find the defendant Kenneth Perry guilty.
If you would have passed the verdict form to Deputy Police.
Hey man, at the end of the day, it's over with, boy. It's a wrap. Hey man, let me know what y'all think about this case, man. Get in the comment section. Let me know.